Admiral Cale Thren of the Veilthorn Dominion spent 6 hours scanning Earth. His flagship, the Dominion's Edge, held position at the outer boundary of the solar system, far enough to avoid detection, close enough for the long-range sensor arrays to do their work. The arrays were the finest in the galaxy, built by Veilthorn engineers over 3 decades, capable of reading the chemical composition of a planet's atmosphere from 12 light-years away, capable of detecting a single fusion reactor signature through the background noise of a star, capable of mapping every artificial structure on a world's surface from a distance that made the world look like a grain of sand. Cale Thren trusted his sensors. He had built a career on trusting his sensors. 40 years of military service, 22 campaigns, 11 conquests. Every one of them began the same way: the survey, the scan, the patient, methodical, exhaustive work of looking at a world and understanding what it was, what it had, what it lacked, what it feared, what it could not defend. Earth was the 23rd campaign, the 12th conquest, and the scan was returning the same data it had returned for the past 6 hours. Data that Cale Thren had checked 3 times. Data that his intelligence chief had verified twice. Data that the sensor officer had confirmed with independent calibration. The data said Earth was defenseless. No orbital platforms. No weapon satellites. No shield generators. No fleet anchorage. No drydock facilities. No military shipyards. No staging areas. No fuel depots. No ammunition stores. No command stations. No sensor networks. No minefields. No interdiction arrays. No point defense grids. No early warning systems. Nothing. The planet itself was ordinary. Blue oceans. Green continents. White clouds. A single natural satellite. Standard atmospheric composition. Standard magnetic field. Standard geological profile. 7 continents. 5 oceans. 8 billion inhabitants distributed across the surface in urban clusters connected by transportation networks. The infrastructure was civilian, entirely civilian. Hospitals, schools, farms, factories, power plants, water treatment facilities, communication arrays, all civilian, all mundane, all exactly what you would expect from a species that had achieved interstellar capability 200 years ago but had never, in those 200 years, built a military presence worth mentioning. Cale Thren reviewed the file on humanity. It was thin, remarkably thin. 200 years of galactic participation and the file was barely 30 pages. They traded. They farmed. They built things. They taught. They healed. They were pleasant, cooperative, unremarkable. They had no territorial disputes, no military alliances, no defense treaties, no mutual protection agreements, no enemies, no allies, no history of conflict with any galactic species. They were, by every measure the Veilthorn used to assess a civilization, harmless. The intelligence chief, Commander Sci-fi Vren, delivered the summary briefing in the Admiral's ready room. She stood at the display table. She projected the scan data. She walked through it item by item, continent by continent, ocean by ocean, city by city. No military infrastructure of any kind, she said. No orbital defenses. No planetary shields. No weapon platforms. No fleet. Not a single warship. They have 47 registered vessels, all civilian. Cargo haulers. Research ships. Passenger transports. The largest is 300 meters. The most heavily armed carries a mining laser that could, theoretically, cut through light hull plating if held on target for approximately 40 minutes. She paused. Admiral, this species has no capacity to resist a military engagement. They have no capacity to resist a weather event. Our fleet could take this world in 4 hours. Our ground forces could occupy every major city in 12. The population would have no choice but to comply. Cale Thren looked at the data, at the blue world turning slowly on the display, at the green continents, at the white clouds, at the cities glowing faintly on the night side. A world of 8 billion people with no guns, no shields, no ships, no defense. Why? He asked. Sci-fi Vren blinked. Admiral, why do they have no defense? Every species in the galaxy maintains a military. Every civilization builds warships. Every population invests in protection. It is the first thing a species does when it achieves spaceflight. It builds a weapon. It builds a shield. It builds a wall. Why haven't they? Selise Vren considered the question. She pulled up additional files, cultural assessments, sociological analyses, historical records. She scrolled through them. She frowned. The records suggest they simply chose not to, she said. There are references to historical military capabilities, significant ones, land wars, naval wars, aerial wars, nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, biological weapons. They had all of it, thousands of years of it. Then they stopped. Approximately 300 years ago, they dismantled everything, decommissioned every weapon, scrapped every warship, closed every military installation, redirected every defense budget to civilian infrastructure. They call it the Great Transition. They celebrate its anniversary every year. They consider it their greatest achievement. They dismantled their military, Kael'thren said. Voluntarily. Yes, Admiral. 300 years ago. Yes, Admiral. And they have not rebuilt. Not according to any data we can access. No military expenditure in any budget. No weapons research in any laboratory. No military training in any institution. No defense planning in any government body. Nothing. For 300 years. Kael'thren looked at the blue world. At the defenseless, harmless, weaponless blue world. And he made his decision. The way he had made 22 decisions before. Quickly. Cleanly. Without hesitation. Because the data was clear. The analysis was complete. The conclusion was certain. Signal the fleet, he said. We advance to low orbit. Begin landing preparations. Standard occupation protocol. The Veilthorn fleet moved inward. 90 warships, dreadnoughts, cruisers, destroyers, assault carriers, troop transports, supply vessels, the full apparatus of conquest, tested, proven, refined over 40 years and 11 successful occupations. The fleet moved in formation, disciplined, precise, the way a blade moves, the way a tide moves, inevitable, unstoppable, unconcerned. They crossed the orbit of the gas giants, passed the asteroid belt, entered the inner system. Earth grew on the view screens. Blue, green, white, beautiful, Kael'thren noticed. Genuinely beautiful. He had conquered 11 worlds. Most of them were gray, brown, dusty, dry, industrial, functional, alive but not living. Not the way this world was living. This world breathed. You could see it breathing from space. The atmosphere moved. The clouds shifted. The oceans glinted. The forests spread like dark green ink across the continents. The world was alive in a way that made him want to look at it, to study it, to understand why it felt different from every other world he had taken. He dismissed the thought. Beauty was not relevant. Beauty was not strategic. Beauty did not defend a planet. Guns defended a planet. Shields defended a planet. Fleets defended a planet. And this planet had none of those things. So beauty was irrelevant. And the thought was dismissed. And the fleet continued. They reached low orbit at 1400 Galactic Standard Time. 90 ships, arranged in a standard occupation grid, covering every continent, every ocean, every city, every approach, every angle. The net was complete. The coverage was total. The planet was enclosed. Kael'thren opened a channel. All frequencies, all bands, every receiver on the surface, every screen, every speaker, every device capable of receiving a signal. The message would reach every human on the planet simultaneously. People of Earth, he said. His voice was translated by the universal matrix. Clean, clear, understood. I am Admiral Kael'thren of the Veilthorn Dominion. Your world is now under Dominion jurisdiction. You will surrender all governmental authority to our occupation command. You will comply with all directives issued by our ground forces. You will not resist. You will not organize. You will not obstruct. Your compliance will ensure your safety. Your resistance will ensure your destruction. You have 1 hour to respond. The channel remained open. The fleet waited. 90 ships, low orbit, weapons charged, troops ready, drop ships loaded. The machinery of conquest, poised, patient, certain. The hour passed. Earth did not respond. No broadcast, no signal, no message, no communication of any kind. The cities continued to glow. The traffic continued to move. The atmosphere continued to breathe. The world continued to turn. As if the fleet were not there. As if the ultimatum had not been given. As if 90 warships in low orbit were not a concern. Were not a threat. Were not relevant. Kale Thren frowned. He had seen defiance before. Had seen silence used as a weapon. Had seen species refuse to respond as a form of protest. But those species had military assets. Had weapons. Had ships. Had the capacity to back their silence with force. This species had nothing. Their silence was not defiance. It was not strategy. It was not courage. It was either ignorance or madness, and neither changed the outcome. Launch the drop ships, Kale Thren ordered. First wave, standard deployment, primary targets, capital cities, government buildings, communication infrastructure, power generation facilities. Secure and hold. The drop ships launched, 40 of them, carrying 10,000 troops, descending toward the surface, burning through the atmosphere, leaving trails of fire across the sky. The first wave of the occupation, the beginning of the end, the start of the 12th conquest. The drop ships reached the upper atmosphere, and the world moved. It began with the oceans. The Pacific was first. A line appeared on the surface, Ruler Strait, running from the northern ice cap to the southern ice cap. 12,000 kilometers of ocean, splitting along a seam that no geological survey had ever detected. Because it was not geological. It was mechanical, engineered, built into the planet's crust with a precision that made Veilthorn engineering look like children stacking blocks. The water parted, not violently, not dramatically, smoothly, cleanly, the way a door opens, the way a lid lifts, the way a thing that was designed to open opens. The Pacific Ocean divided along the seam and the water pulled back and the seam widened, and beneath the ocean floor, beneath the crust, beneath the rock and the magma and the stone, there was metal, bright, clean, new, the metal of something that had been sealed, protected, preserved, waiting for 300 years, in the dark, in the deep, in the bones of the world. The first ship rose from the Pacific seam. It was enormous, 2 kilometers long, dark-hulled, angular, armed with weapon systems that the Veilthorn sensors could not identify, could not classify, could not categorize. The sensors returned readings that made no sense, energy signatures that belonged to no known technology, power outputs that exceeded theoretical maximums, shield configurations that violated fundamental physics. The ship rose from the ocean floor the way a whale breaches, slowly, massively, with the absolute, unhurried certainty of a thing that has waited a long time and is no longer waiting. Then the second ship rose, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, from the Pacific seam, from the Atlantic ridge, from the Indian Ocean floor, from the Mediterranean basin, from the Arctic shelf, from every ocean on the planet. Ships, rising, emerging, breaching, one after another, after another, after another, until the sky was full of them, until the oceans were full of them, until the world was full of them. But the oceans were only the beginning. The continents moved next. Not tectonically, mechanically. The Himalayas unfolded. The mountain range that had stood for 60 million years opened. The peaks split along hidden seams. The rock panels retracted. And beneath the mountains, weapon platforms, massive ones, planetary-scale artillery, Guns so large they used the mountain range as a barrel. The Andes followed, the Alps, the Rockies, the Urals. Every major mountain range on the planet opened like a flower, revealed what was inside, what had been built inside, what had been hidden inside. For 300 years, since the Great Transition, since the day humanity dismantled its military and redirected every defense budget to civilian infrastructure. Except they had not redirected every budget. They had redirected the visible ones, the ones that showed up in the records, the ones that the intelligence reports could find, the ones that the sensors could detect, the ones that were on the surface, above the crust, in the light, where anyone looking would see them. The real budget was below, beneath the surface, beneath the crust, beneath the oceans, beneath the mountains, beneath the cities, beneath the farms, beneath the schools, beneath the hospitals, beneath everything. 300 years of investment, 300 years of engineering, 300 years of building, in the dark, in silence, in patience, 300 years of turning the planet itself into the defense. Cale Thren stood on the bridge of the Dominion's edge. He watched the view screen. He watched the ships rise. He watched the mountains open. He watched the oceans part. He watched the world he had come to conquer wake up. And the waking was beautiful. And the beauty was terrifying. Because the beauty was not separate from the weapon. The beauty was the weapon. The oceans were launch bays. The mountains were gun emplacements. The continents were dry docks. The forests were sensor arrays. The cities were command nodes. The atmosphere was a shield matrix. The magnetic field was a targeting system. The planet was not a world with a fleet. The planet was the fleet. Every rock, every wave, every tree, every cloud, every grain of sand, every drop of water, every breath of air, all of it. One system, one weapon, one defense, one fleet, one world, one Earth. How many ships? Cale Thren whispered. He did not recognize his own voice. It was thin, hollow. The voice of a man watching the impossible happen and knowing that his entire career, his entire understanding, his entire certainty was wrong. The sensor officer ran the count, ran it again, ran it a third time. The numbers did not change. 412, Admiral. And climbing. More are still emerging from the Pacific and Atlantic seams. 412. The same number as the Sovereignty Council's combined fleet. The fleet that backed the ultimatum that Cale Thren had never received because he was not part of the council. He was Veilthorn. He acted alone. He had not known about the ultimatum, had not cared, had come here on his own authority, with his own fleet, with his own certainty, with his 90 ships, against a planet that his sensors said was defenseless. The sensors were wrong, had always been wrong, had been designed to detect military infrastructure on the surface, in orbit, in the places where species built their defenses, in the places where the galaxy expected defenses to be. The sensors had not been designed to look inside a planet, inside the crust, inside the mantle, inside the core, because no species put their military inside their planet. No species built weapons into their geology. No species turned their world into a ship, because the idea was insane, was impossible, was beyond the scope of any technology the galaxy possessed, was beyond the imagination of any species that thought about defense in terms of things that orbit and things that fly and things that sit in space and shoot. Humanity had not thought about defense that way. Humanity had thought about defense the way a body thinks about an immune system, not as a separate thing, not as an add-on, not as an accessory, as a fundamental, integrated, inseparable part of the whole. The defense was not on the world. The defense was of the world. The defense was the world. And the world was the defense. And the distinction did not exist, had never existed, had been deliberately, intentionally engineered out of existence 300 years ago, when the Great Transition began, when the visible military was dismantled, when the budgets were redirected, when the weapons were scrapped, when the ships were decommissioned, When the galaxy was told that humanity had chosen peace, had chosen softness, had chosen vulnerability, had chosen to be harmless, sealed, protected, preserved, waiting for 300 years, in the dark, in the deep, in the bones of the world, the first ship rose from the Pacific Seam. It was enormous, 2 kilometers long, dark-hulled, angular, armed with weapon systems that the Veilthorn sensors could not identify, could not classify, could not categorize. The sensors returned readings that made no sense, energy signatures that belonged to no known technology, power outputs that exceeded theoretical maximums, shield configurations that violated fundamental physics. The ship rose from the ocean floor the way a whale breaches, slowly, massively, with the absolute, unhurried certainty of a thing that has waited a long time and is no longer waiting. Then the second ship rose, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, from the Pacific Seam, from the Atlantic Ridge, from the Indian Ocean floor, from the Mediterranean basin, from the Arctic shelf, from every ocean on the planet. Ships, rising, emerging, breaching, one after another, after another, after another, until the sky was full of them, until the oceans were full of them, until the world was full of them. But the oceans were only the beginning. The continents moved next. Not tectonically, mechanically, the Himalayas unfolded. The mountain range that had stood for 60 million years opened. The peaks split along hidden seams. The rock panels retracted. And beneath the mountains, weapon platforms, massive ones, planetary-scale artillery, guns so large they used the mountain range as a barrel. The Andes followed, the Alps, the Rockies, the Urals. Every major mountain range on the planet opened like a flower, revealed what was inside, what had been built inside, what had been hidden inside. For 300 years, since the Great Transition, since the day humanity dismantled its military and redirected every defense budget to civilian infrastructure. Except they had not redirected every budget. They had redirected the visible ones, the ones that showed up in the records, the ones that the intelligence reports could find, the ones that the sensors could detect, the ones that were on the surface, above the crust, in the light, where anyone looking would see them. The real budget was below, beneath the surface, beneath the crust, beneath the oceans, beneath the mountains, beneath the cities, beneath the farms, beneath the schools, beneath the hospitals, beneath everything. 300 years of investment, 300 years of engineering, 300 years of building, in the dark, in silence, in patience, 300 years of turning the planet itself into the defense. Cale Thren stood on the bridge of the Dominion's edge. He watched the view screen. He watched the ships rise. He watched the mountains open. He watched the oceans part. He watched the world he had come to conquer wake up. And the waking was beautiful. And the beauty was terrifying. Because the beauty was not separate from the weapon. The beauty was the weapon. The oceans were launch bays. The mountains were gun emplacements. The continents were dry docks. The forests were sensor arrays. The cities were command nodes. The atmosphere was a shield matrix. The magnetic field was a targeting system. The planet was not a world with a fleet. The planet was the fleet. Every rock, every wave, every tree, every cloud, every grain of sand, every drop of water, every breath of air, all of it. One system, one weapon, one defense, one fleet, one world, one Earth. How many ships? Cale Thren whispered. He did not recognize his own voice. It was thin, hollow, the voice of a man watching the impossible happen and knowing that his entire career, his entire understanding, his entire certainty was wrong. The sensor officer ran the count, ran it again, ran it a third time. The numbers did not change. 412, Admiral. And climbing. More are still emerging from the Pacific and Atlantic seams. 412. The same number as the Sovereignty Council's combined fleet. The fleet that backed the ultimatum that Cale Thren had never received because he was not part of the council. He was Veilthorn. He acted alone. He had not known about the ultimatum, had not cared, had come here on his own authority, with his own fleet, with his own certainty, with his 90 ships, against a planet that his sensors said was defenseless. The sensors were wrong, had always been wrong, had been designed to detect military infrastructure on the surface, in orbit, in the places where species built their defenses, in the places where the galaxy expected defenses to be. The sensors had not been designed to look inside a planet, inside the crust, inside the mantle, inside the core, because no species put their military inside their planet. No species built weapons into their geology. No species turned their world into a ship, because the idea was insane, was impossible, was beyond the scope of any technology the galaxy possessed, was beyond the imagination of any species that thought about defense in terms of things that orbit and things that fly and things that sit in space and shoot. Humanity had not thought about defense that way. Humanity had thought about defense the way a body thinks about an immune system, not as a separate thing, not as an add-on, not as an accessory, as a fundamental, integrated, inseparable part of the whole. The defense was not on the world. The defense was of the world. The defense was the world. And the world was the defense. And the distinction did not exist, had never existed, had been deliberately, intentionally engineered out of existence 300 years ago, when the Great Transition began, when the visible military was dismantled, when the budgets were redirected, when the weapons were scrapped, when the ships were decommissioned, when the galaxy was told that humanity had chosen peace, had chosen softness, had chosen vulnerability, had chosen to be harmless, outnumbered, outclassed, by a species that had been classified as harmless, by a world that had been classified as defenseless, by a planet that had been classified as unprotected. "We are not going to destroy your fleet," Director Osei continued. "We are not going to fire on your ships. We are not going to harm your crews. We are not going to retaliate. We are going to let you leave. All of you, every ship, every soldier, every drop ship, every crew member. You will power down your weapons. You will recall your dropships. You will withdraw from our solar system. You will return to Veilthorn space. And you will deliver a message." Cale Thren found his voice. It was smaller than he remembered. What message? Director Osei looked at him. The calm eyes, the measured voice, the teacher's jacket, the engineer's patience, the gardener's certainty. "The message is this," he said. "Earth is not undefended. Earth has never been undefended. Earth will never be undefended. What you saw on the surface was not our defense. What you read in the files was not our capability. What your sensors detected was not our strength. You saw the garden. You did not see the roots. The roots go deep. The roots go everywhere. The roots are the world. And the world is the defense. And the defense is not a thing you can see from orbit, is not a thing you can scan with instruments, is not a thing you can measure with sensors, is not a thing you can anticipate with intelligence reports. It is the world itself, and the world is ours, and we will defend it, not with fleets that orbit above it, not with stations that float beside it, not with platforms that watch over it, with the world itself, with the rock, with the water, with the air, with the ground beneath your feet and the sky above your head and the gravity that holds you and the magnetism that shields you. All of it, ours, all of it, the defense, all of it, the fleet, all of it, the weapon, all of it, the warning. And the warning is, do not come here again. Do not send ships. Do not send fleets. Do not send armies. Do not send ultimatums. Do not send demands. Send a letter. Send a gift. Send a handshake. Send a friendship. We will accept all of those. We will welcome all of those. But do not send a weapon, because the weapon will meet the world, and the world will win. The world has always won, for 4.5 billion years. The world has won. Against asteroids, against ice ages, against volcanic winters, against extinction events, against everything the universe has thrown at it. The world has won, and we are part of the world, and the world is part of us. And together we do not lose. Admiral Cale Thren ordered the withdrawal at 1600 Galactic Standard Time. The order was given quietly, without ceremony, without speech, without explanation. He simply said, "All ships power down weapons. Recall dropships. Set course for the system boundary. Best speed." And the fleet obeyed, and the weapons powered down, and the dropships descended from their suspended positions in the atmospheric barrier and returned to their carriers. And the fleet turned, and the fleet burned, and the fleet left. The human ships did not follow, did not escort, did not shadow, did not threaten, did not gloat. They held position, watched the Veilthorn fleet withdraw. And when the fleet reached the system boundary, and when the fold space drives activated, and when the Veilthorn ships disappeared into the fold, the human fleet descended. Back into the oceans, back into the mountains, back into the continents, back into the crust, back into the mantle, back into the bones of the world. The seams closed, the mountains folded, the oceans sealed, the planet smoothed. The surface returned to what it had been before. Blue, green, white, beautiful, ordinary, peaceful. The cities continued to glow. The traffic continued to move. The atmosphere continued to breathe. The world continued to turn, as if nothing had happened, as if 90 warships had not arrived, as if 471 ships had not emerged, as if the planet had not opened itself and revealed its bones and shown the galaxy what it truly was. The world returned to its stillness, to its quiet, to its ordinary, unremarkable, peaceful, harmless surface. But it was not harmless, had never been harmless, would never be harmless. The surface was the garden. The garden was real. The garden was true. The garden was the life that humanity lived. The schools, the hospitals, the farms, the factories, the cities, the parks, the homes, the families, the children, the ordinary, everyday, beautiful work of being alive. That was real. That was the surface. That was the truth. And beneath the truth, beneath the garden, beneath the surface, beneath the ordinary, the fleet slept, patient, quiet, waiting, the way roots wait, the way seeds wait, the way the bones of the world wait. Not anxious, not eager, not restless, just ready, just present, just part of the whole, part of the garden, part of the truth, part of the world. Admiral Cale Thren returned to Veilthorn space. He delivered the message. He stood before the Dominion Council. He told them what he had seen: the oceans parting, the mountains opening, the fleet rising, the planet waking, the world becoming the weapon becoming the world. He told them all of it, every detail, every reading, every moment, every fear, every awe, every impossible, beautiful, terrifying second of watching a planet reveal that it was not a planet, was not just a planet, was more than a planet, was a defense, was a fleet, was a weapon, was a warning, was a world that had spent 300 years building itself into the most powerful military installation in the galaxy while showing the galaxy a garden, while showing the galaxy peace, while showing the galaxy schools and hospitals and farms and children and flowers and sunlight and the ordinary, everyday, unremarkable beauty of a species that had chosen not to fight, that had chosen to grow, that had chosen to tend, that had chosen to be gentle, and had built the capacity to be terrible beneath the gentleness, and had hidden it for 300 years, in the bones, in the rock, in the water, in the ground, in the world. The Dominion Council listened. The Dominion Council did not speak. The Dominion Council did not debate. The Dominion Council did not propose alternatives. The Dominion Council did not suggest a second attempt. The Dominion Council simply sat and absorbed and understood and changed. They changed the way a species changes when it has seen something it cannot unsee, when it has learned something it cannot unlearn, When it has been taught a lesson it cannot forget. The lesson was simple. The lesson was old. The lesson was the thing that humanity had learned 10,000 years ago and had spent 300 years building into the body of their world. The lesson was, the best defense is the one that does not look like a defense. The best weapon is the one that does not look like a weapon. The best fleet is the one that does not look like a fleet. The best strength is the one that looks like softness. The best power is the one that looks like peace. The best protection is the one that looks like a garden. Because a garden is a living thing, and a living thing grows, and a growing thing adapts, and an adapting thing survives, and a surviving thing endures, and an enduring thing wins. Not quickly, not loudly, not dramatically, slowly, quietly, patiently, the way roots win, the way seeds win, the way the world wins, the way Earth has always won, by being the world, by being the garden, by being the defense, by being the fleet, by being all of it, at once, together, inseparable, integrated, whole, one thing, one system, one organism, one world, one home, one fleet, one defense, one truth, Earth. The fleet was the planet was the fleet, and the fleet had emerged, and the emergence had changed everything. Not because the ships were powerful, not because the weapons were advanced, not because the technology was superior, because the idea was right, the idea that defense is not separate from home, that protection is not separate from life, that strength is not separate from gentleness, that the weapon and the garden are the same thing, grown from the same soil, watered by the same rain, tended by the same hands, living the same life, breathing the same air, part of the same world, part of the same truth, part of the same earth. And Earth was still here, still blue, still green, still white, still beautiful, still ordinary, still peaceful, still turning, still breathing, still alive, still the garden, still the fleet, still the defense, still the home, still waiting, still patient, still ready, still the bones of the world, still the roots of the garden, still the quiet beneath the surface, still the strength beneath the softness, still the fleet beneath the peace, still Earth, still home, still here, the end.